By 1967, the Beatles were no longer just a band. They were a global voice. They had conquered charts, countries, and generations. But behind the fame, there was a question Paul McCartney would later reflect on many times. Why did it work? What was the real reason the Beatles connected with the world the way no one else did? For Paul, the answer wasn't technical brilliance. It wasn't fashion. It wasn't even innovation alone. It was something simpler. And one song, he believed, said it all. That song was All You Need Is Love.
There's nothing you can do that can't be done.
All You Need Is Love was written by John Lennon for a very specific moment. The first ever global live satellite broadcast, Our World, watched by hundreds of millions in June 1967. The brief was clear. Write something the entire world could understand instantly. Paul later explained that this was exactly where the Beatles' strength always lived: simplicity with sincerity. The lyrics were not complex, the melody was direct, the message was universal: love, no metaphor, no clever disguise, just a feeling everyone already understood. Years later, Paul McCartney repeatedly pointed to All You Need Is Love as a song that summed up the Beatles' philosophy, not because it was their best composition, but because it revealed why they worked. Paul explained that the Beatles succeeded because they communicated emotion before technique. They didn't talk down to audiences. They didn't hide behind complexity. They trusted that a simple idea, honestly expressed, could travel anywhere. All You Need Is Love embodied that belief. Musically, the song is deceptively clever. Odd time signatures, unexpected chord changes, quotations from classical music and jazz. But none of that gets in the way of the message. Paul later noted that this balance, innovation hidden beneath accessibility, was the true secret of the Beatles' success. You didn't need to understand music theory, you just needed to feel it. Producer George Martin immediately understood the importance of the song, not because it pushed technology, but because it pushed connection. Broadcast live to the world with musicians from different countries crowded into the studio, All You Need Is Love felt less like a performance and more like a statement. Martin later said the song worked because it was open, not clever for the sake of cleverness. That openness had always been the Beatles' greatest weapon. Critics later dismissed the song as naive or overly idealistic. Paul disagreed. He acknowledged the simplicity, but insisted it was deliberate, not accidental. The Beatles had written complex songs. They had written experimental records. Yet when asked to speak to the entire planet, they chose the most human message possible. To Paul, that choice explained everything about their rise. All You Need Is Love wasn't the start of the Beatles' success, but it was the clearest explanation of it. They didn't win audiences by being distant geniuses. They won them by being emotionally available. That, Paul believed, was the real secret. Write songs that people can step inside. When Paul McCartney looks back at the Beatles, he doesn't point to awards or chart records. He points to connection. And in that sense, All You Need Is Love isn't just a song. It's a thesis, a simple idea, shared honestly, at the right moment. And that, more than anything else, is why the Beatles mattered.